Hey, is that time again? On this one, I'm going to talk about Milwaukee sewer machines, battery-powered sewer machines. They've got quite the selection, and it's amazing some of the stuff they've got available now. Like this guy right here. This is part of the MX Fuel line. It's the new super big battery they're coming out with. This machine is like a main line machine. It's meant for running a big cable. I believe a 7/8, if I remember right, a 7/8 cable. This thing will do main lines. I believe up to either 6-inch or 8-inch. And this particular model is called it's got the power treads, is what they call it. That is basically a lift assist for helping you get it upstairs because this thing weighs well over 100 pounds with the cable installed. So this is a serious machine. It's pretty wild that they can do this with a battery now. I'm just going to scroll down real quick. I'm not going to really go into too much in depth about what it can do, but there you can kind of see what the tread climber attachment looks like. Let me try to steady this up so I don't make anybody seasick. I don't know pricing yet. I'm sure they'll come out with it, but it's pretty interesting. It's pretty amazing that they're able to do this with a battery. So this next one here is a M18. It's an 18 volt. Uses an 18 volt battery. It's a sectional drum machine. Pretty cool idea. It's pretty amazing that they're able to do this. This thing can also do pretty big main lines, and it's a little bit lighter. The main difference between this and a standard drum machine is that the cables come in sections, so it's a little more compact. But it's still pretty heavy. This is still a pretty serious tool. These, as far as I know, these are available. You can order these now if you have a customer that's interested in them. As far as performance, I would recommend you make sure the person has a 12 amp hour battery, at least, or at least a 9.0. Anything smaller than that, you're probably going to be disappointed with what this thing will do. But again, it's insane that they can do this with a 18 volt battery. So this is a switch pack. There are a ton of different options for this. I mean, way more than I want to cover here. What makes this interesting is it's really good for climbing. So if you got a situation where you got to get up on a roof, you detach the drum, you put the backpack unit on, and you carry the drum in your offhand. That way you got your 3 points of contact all the way up to the roof if you got to snake a line from a vent. And as far as the accessories, you can get different sizes of cables for the drums, so it's like a quick connect. So if you need a 5/16 cable, you just put your drum that has a 5/16 cable on it. If you need a 3/8, well, you've already got a drum for that. Slap that boy on there. And most of the kits come with accessories like batteries and different cutting bits that work with the cables. It's this one's been out a little bit longer than the other two I just showed you. This is kind of a more established tool. I've sold a few of these, and the guys I've sold them to love them. These are excellent, and for what it is, it's really not that much money. These are pretty good. If I were to buy any of the three I've shown you so far, this is probably the good one that I would, well, not the good one, but the one I would probably be most interested in because it's the most versatile. All right, so this is the M18 drain snake. The major feature that sets this one apart is the self-feed function that this thing has. Up here in the front, you push it forward and lock it. That drives the cable forward. You pull it back towards you and lock it. That pulls the cable back in, and it's got a neutral as well. The drum's self-contained. It'll do, I believe, up to 3-inch lines, 18 volt. Relatively simple tool, but having that self-feed feature, that's a nice thing to have. And it's not really that heavy either. I want to say it's under 10 pounds without the battery. It just depends on which battery you decide to put on it. And they've got an M12 version. This one works a little bit differently. I mean, it's similar, but it is different. This front piece of the drum here, that lets you gives you something to hold on to while the inner drum spins. I believe you can also pull it, either push it forward or pull it to you, and that actually locks the cable, but it does not feature a self-feed. So you still have to manually grab the cable and push a little bit in at a time, but you can actually lock the feed if you need to, work it back and forth. I want to say this one's good up to 2-inch lines. Doesn't have what the power the M18 does, but for a quick service call on the sync line, this is perfect. This is the one. I like this one. I actually probably like this one more than the 18 volt version, honestly. Oddly enough, it's a little bit heavier than the 18 volt. I want to say it's like a ½ pound or maybe a pound heavier, which I believe that's due to this is a brushed tool. I think the other one, the M18 version, I think it's brushless. And it's something about the way the drum's shaped and designed too. I'm not exactly sure, but the 12 volt one is slightly heavier. So something to keep in mind. Next up, we've got the Air Snake, which I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So this one's got all, you know, if you buy it with a kit, it's got different attachments for different types of sink lines. You know, it's got this big board, this one right here, that's meant for getting into the trapway of a commode. It's got a couple of extensions. What this is basically a battery-powered water ram or air ram. It's got a little compressor on it, runs off 12-volt battery. You know, you set your pressure, you pull the trigger, it'll run for a second and build up the pressure, and you fire. My understanding is the way this thing releases the air, because it releases like a huge slug of air really quickly, is that even if you have a vent in line with the clog you're trying to unclog, that slug of air is so dense that it will actually push on past the vent and not go up it, and actually will hit the clog. It's a pretty interesting concept, being battery powered, because I know a lot of like older style kinetic rams, like the ones that General Wire sell, you know, you have to pump those by hand. It's for the right customer, and maybe, you know, this could be a pretty good investment. And the last two, I mean, these I'm going to go over the trap snakes. You know, you got the urinal auger version, and you've got the toilet auger version. All right, if you know anybody that does commercial service work, sell them this thing, especially the urinal auger. I can tell you from personal experience, augering a urinal sucks. Okay, it's a pain in the butt, because the trapway is so small, and a lot of times by the time they get stopped up, they're so full of urea crystals. It's basically like trying to push a snake through concrete. It's not easy. It's a pain in the nuts. So definitely lean on your commercial guys, especially with the urinal auger, because what this thing does, it's got this little 12-volt power unit that snaps into the top there. It takes all the work out of it. You know, all you do is hold a button, and it does all the work for you. All you got to do is feed the cable. These come, you can get these individually as just the urinal or just a toilet, or you can buy a kit that has them both. I know for sure we're stocking the one that has both in it. I'm sure it's no problem to get the individual ones, and you can get them as a bare tool or with the battery kit. Also, they'll come with a manual, like hand crank, that you can put instead of the power unit if you're ever in a situation where your batteries are dead. But yeah, that's about it. That's you know, they don't have a huge line of stuff. Like, they don't have anything crazy like jetters yet. With the M8's line, who knows what they might come up with. I wouldn't be surprised to see an actual battery powered jetter machine at some point, but that's just hearsay. I'm just me speculating. This is, you know, they got some pretty neat stuff going on. Another thing that I would like to see them do, and I have a feeling that one day they probably will do, would be some kind of inspection camera that's fully battery powered, kind of like what Rigid sells, or something to that effect, or some kind of locator that uses one of the nicer batteries. It's coming, I'm sure. It's just, you know, with this kind of stuff, it just takes time for them to build a catalog up. But that's about all I really want to say about that. Definitely see what we keep. You know, do item inquiries on these part numbers, and definitely keep this stuff in mind when you have a customer to ask about some drain cleaning machines. You know, I really do think the battery powered is the future. I mean, depending on the application, sometimes you're better off using a plug-in tool, but just know that you have a lot of battery powered options if you go Milwaukee. But as always, if you have any questions or have any thoughts or comments, reach out. Let me know. Have a good one.